Airbnb has promised Wall Street that we'll be earning way more money from each single booking this year. And yet, at the same time, your host fee is not going up. So, and Airbnb is not touching your payout here. Both of these things are true. So, in the next 8 minutes, I'll show you how they fit together. Because once you see it, you will look at every booking in your calendar a little differently. Let's start with the part you already know. Um, if you manage properties in Europe, or most of the world actually, your listings have been on a host only fee since as far back as 2020. That's around 15% taken from your side, nothing added on the guest. For the US and Canada, the switch came in October 2025, 15.5% for everyone connected to a PMS. And Airbnb has said it is now testing this single fee with even more hosts beyond the software connected ones. So, everyone basically. So, at the time you did the math, you adjusted your rates, you answered your owner's questions, it was over. But do remember the goal of all this back then, right? Clean prices. For years, the message to us has been simplify. Drop your cleaning fee or fold it into the nightly rate, for example. Total price display so that the guest sees one honest number. And you know what? Fair enough. Guests hate fee surprises. We adapted. Now, think about what all of this really did to the checkout page on Airbnb. It removed the lines, such the cleaning fee line or the Airbnb's own service fee line, right? The one guests loved to hate. But it's a little bit funny, isn't it? Those lines did not stay empty for long. Well, say when it comes to the night rates, they stayed empty. But new ones have been appearing. And this time they are not our lines, not from us, they're from Airbnb. Again, and nothing wrong with that. It's just driving awareness for you here. And I think it's very interesting as a business. Really interesting. Because in a way, that's something we in the travel industry have been doing for years, decades. Airbnb has just taken a lead for our own playbook. Think about it. Let me show you what a guest can now buy at checkout on top of your nightly rate. Four things. And here's what's interesting again, right? Nothing's really new. These are recipes travel has used for decades. Airbnb is just applying them at Airbnb scale with a fintech twist or two. One, travel insurance. The oldest upsell in travel. Airlines and tour operators have sold it at checkout forever. Airbnb's version launched in 2022, and today it's available to guests living in about a dozen countries, the US, Canada, the UK, and most of Western Europe, really. So it's paid insurance backed by Generali. I can't say this, it's Generali. It covers the guest if they cancel for a covered reason, like a flight is delayed, if they get sick during the trip. To be clear, right, this is not air cover, right? The what was called the Airbnb guarantee. This is not air cover. Air cover is free to guests, right? This is an insurance product the guest pays for a percentage of the trip cost. And as is standard in travel, the seller, Airbnb, earns a commission on every policy. Airbnb doesn't say how much, but having worked a bit in travel industry for a while, usually the margins are very, 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 very high. Like could be up to 50% sometimes, if not more, depending on how you negotiate. Second product that a guest can buy on top of your booking, the new extended cancellation policy option. This is a fintech twist, right? The app Hopper built a whole business on it. Now Airbnb has its own version. Well, it's brand new, right? It said it rolled out in June 2026. And it's live in 12 countries so far, including the US, Canada, Ireland, the Netherlands, hello, Poland, and Sweden. The guest pays a fee for the right to cancel for any reason up to 24 hours before check-in and gets full refund. Airbnb is Airbnb's pitch to guests is this is flexibility. This is about peace of mind. Not to be precise, right? If the guest cancels, as a host, as a property manager, you still paid whatever your own policy says, and Airbnb covers the refund. So they do some math basically to say like, should I take the risk of this, and what's the probability it will get canceled, and then they sell that option basically risked option to the guests, right? This so they never lose money on this, of course. That's pure math. That just makes sense, right? So what's the catch for you? Well, just not really catch, but know that your listing is most likely enrolled automatically if you're in these countries, and if you want to, you can opt out. Of course, the fee, this extended consultation fee, goes to Airbnb, not to you, and you get. But it also means you get more last minute churn, right? You could get nights blocked, nights that were blocked for weeks, and they get released, say, up to 24 hours before your check in. Then you can resell it, of course, and you do get paid. But if you have the range like for a cleaner to come or all this, that could be some cost you have anyway. Okay, third product. Reserve now, pay later. We all seen this in shopping things, right? Like Klarna, all these things, like pay now. Sorry, but buy now, pay later. So here it's reserve now, pay later, right? So that's the same thing. It launched in the US in August 2025, and now it's available worldwide since February 2026. The guest reserves with $0 down today, and their card is only charged closer to check-in. So there's nothing extra for them to pay really, but the guest has sort of committed nothing. If the card fails on payment day, the booking simply dies on your calendar. This only applies to listings with flexible or moderate cancellations policy. So your policy choice decides if you're in. Again, here you see I'm just driving awareness, so I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm also saying it's good business. That's what we see today, and that's all this fintech insurance guarantee or things that make things a bit more flexible, but in the end do increase the cancellation rates. Right? I'll talk about that. And the fourth one we never talk much about, but Airbnb is making good money on, is the currency fee. Say your currency fee, right? Say that your listing is priced in dollars, and a French guest, this one, is paying with a card in euros. Well, someone has to convert that money, and Airbnb does it, right? Because they have all this payment system that they will take the well-earned euros and convert that in dollars for you as a property manager in the US. So Airbnb does it, but for a fee, right? Up to one. I saw at first, and I think it's now up to 2% of the booking. So you know the move, right? We all have to face it. Sometimes go abroad, and you have the card machine tells you, "Oh, do you want to pay in your own currency?" Of course, that looks convenient, but it's never free, right? So you know better. It's like you change money at the airport, and the exchange desk takes a cut, right? It's the same idea built into the checkout, right? Airbnb says that it's the fee covers its currency risk. Makes sense. In plain words, where the guest pays so that nobody has to worry about the exchange rate moving. So again, it means that on certain bookings, the guest paying in certain currency, and the host has to get the money in different currency, then Airbnb will add to the guest's invoice, if you will, this currency fee, right? So okay, that's four things that could be happening, right? And none of them you really see, right, as a host, but good to know. Good to know. It all adds up, right? It all adds up. I think maybe I could take an example to be a bit more clear. Let's put it all together in one booking, right? A quick warning, Airbnb does not publish the price of each add-on, so we'll use estimates, and hopefully fair ones, right? Because it's not my thing to just accuse or things. I would like, let's bring clarity, explain, because I find it interesting as we all work in the travel industry, right? So imagine a guest from France, this one, books 1 week at your property in Florida. Let's say for $1,000. So it's not expensive at all. I'm not sure what kind of property will find $1,000. Probably like a cabana or something somewhere in somebody's backyard. But anyway, so let's imagine 1,000 makes math right, easy. Airbnb's fee on your side, as you know, is 15.5%. So it's about $155 that they take out from your 90 rate. Okay, clear, great. Then at checkout, well, imagine, right? The guest, me, I can add travel insurance on a trip like this, several tens of dollars. Airbnb keeps a share, right? They take the extended. Imagine I also take the extended cancellation option because I'm not super sure of my dates, and that's another fee that would go to Airbnb. And remember, I'm paying in euros and booking something in dollars, so there's currency fee coming on top. So it all adds up, right? On this booking, Airbnb's revenue goes from about $155 to somewhere above 200. Again, I hope my math is kind of right, but you get the idea, right? It comes on top. It's very interesting. I like this. That's what Airbnb is telling its investors. Well, our take rate, the money you take from every booking, is really increasing, right? That's very interesting. There's two ways to go about it. We think about it. Right? Booking.com has a lot of pay-to-play things where you have to pay more commission to Airbnb to rank higher and stuff like this. Here, Airbnb is so very good at taking more money on the guest side. So interesting, right? So why should I care? Why should I care? Well, fair question. Three reasons. First, so guests travel on a total budget, right? Every dollar, every euro they spend on add-ons at checkout is a dollar that was available for something else, maybe your nightly rate or something else, right? Airbnb again is not taking from your payout; it's taking from the guest wallet, but it's the same wallet you price against in a way. Second, think about what you sell on your direct bookings, for example, right? You may be saying damage waivers, trip insurance, also may have a higher rate for flexible cancellation. On Airbnb, those products still exist, but Airbnb sells them now, and Airbnb keeps the money. Again, right? It's something we've seen in the travel industry forever. Why wouldn't Airbnb do it as well? Third, some of these products move the risk onto you. What I mean is that reserve now, pay later, for example, lifted Airbnb's overall cancellation rate from about 16% to 17%. They said this, so right. And with the also extended cancellation per option, if the guest cancels the day before check-in, Airbnb keeps the fee, right? And you keep the gap in your calendar. Even though, again, you get your, yeah, that was supposed like this, right? Um, so again, I want to be, my goal is to be honest with you. It is not to accuse anything, right? It's really always explaining. I'm not really the kind of like, oh, angry guy. I'm not posting on Reddit, right? I'm making a video here. Airbnb is doing exactly what a smart marketplace does when it controls the payments. And they're not hiding it. In 2024 results, in their 24 results, Airbnb itself listed guest travel insurance and the currency fee as monetization efforts. Monetization efforts, ways to make more money, I think, uh, that helped push revenue past $11 billion. Not bad. And this year, their CFO told investors on the record that the insurance program will increase how much the company earns from each booking. It's all in the earnings, earning calls, and shareholder letters. Really stupid to read them. Honestly, this is a lesson for all of us, right? Airbnb has proven with insurance revenue growing 45% in a year, I guess we'll pay for peace of mind. You know, if you have direct bookings, that margin can be yours, right? And we all know, right, with damage waivers, it's the way to go, for example. And here's maybe the most telling detail in the whole story. You could not check any of this, right? What your guest actually paid in total, the insurance cancellation option, the currency fee, I don't think it appears anywhere on your side. Maybe it doesn't have to, right? You're just a provider of the nightly rate. Your statement shows your rate, your fees. I think the rest is between Airbnb and your guest. Just so it's not so it's worth knowing, right? Because the space between what a guest pays and what you receive used to be just a commission. Now there's a whole business on top of it, right? And the more clearly you see it, the better your decisions. That can influence your pricing, maybe your policies, cancellation policies, and what you offer your guests directly. We go much deeper in a full article on RSU by Price Labs, the numbers, the quotes, everything. So I hope it was useful and see you there in Rentals Club to read the article if you want more details. As usual, take care, everyone.